Hello guys, welcome to my first constructed video series on MTGMadness.com. Today we are going to play a modern daily event on Magic Online with the Nacatl diver deck that I wrote about last time, since I figured it would be nice to show you guys how the deck actually plays out and for you to see it in action. First I want to talk about a few small changes that I made to the list from the article. First of all, I replaced the Temple Garden with a breeding pool, since I felt I just want some more blue mana. Temple Garden doesn't really produce mana for a lot of cards in the deck actually. It can produce colorless mana for the Mana Leak and the Snapcaster, or white or colorless mana for the Geist. Other than that, it's mostly just turn 1 Nacatl, pass to exile, and helps casting a Helix. So since we want to use our mana every turn and efficiently, having a land that is very limited in its uses for spells can be problematic. Also, since I added a second counterflux over the negate to the sideboard to fight the increasing amount of Scapeshift on Magic Online, Temple Garden doesn't produce any mana at all for counterflux, so it's pretty much an extra land you have to draw to cast your counterflux if you draw a Temple Garden. That was another reason to cut it. Another thing is, Breeding Pool makes your early game development actually a lot smoother. For example, if you have an Nacatl diver hand, I like to go turn 1 Breeding Pool into, for example, Nacatl. Turn 2, fetch up the Sacred Foundry, cast the Delver off of the Breeding Pool, and then be able to Lightning Bolt or pass to exile my opponent's early game creature, say turn 2 Tarmogoyf, or Bolt, one of the small creatures like a mana creature from Pod or whatever. And it gives you that option that the mana you need to cast your threats and the mana you need to cast your removal are separated among 2 lands, so you can pretty much have the option to choose what removal you want to use, rather than with, for example, turn 1 Stomping Ground in Nacatl forces you to either not have blue mana by fetching a Sacred Foundry to have pass/Lightning Bolt mana open, or fetch a Hallowed Fountain to make the Nacatl 3/3 and have all your colors, but be limited to pass to exile as a removal option on what your opponent might play on their turn. And we really want to avoid pass to exiling that early, and also pass to exiling random creatures that we could bolt or helix as well. So having that Sacred Foundry untapped gives us the most flexibility while allowing us to deploy our 1-drops, or even deploy, say, the Delver on turn 2 and the Grim Lavamancer that we have or have drawn into. 2 other small changes in the sideboard. I cut a Wear and Tear for Grim Lavamancer, since there's really not that many enchantments to kill. There's also not many hexproof decks currently, and Grim Lavamancer is probably even better against Affinity than a Shatter, so the card is just more flexible, since it's also really great against all the versions of Twin decks and all the pot matchups. And I figured that I need some more efficient early game hard removal against, for example, Tarmogoyfs, Knights, Smiters, but also to deal with Kitchen Finks or Voice. The only card that can do both is Chained, since Pillar only answers the small Persisters or Voice, and say Threats of Disloyalty only deals with Voice and Tarmogoyf and doesn't address the rest. Also, Chain to the Rocks seem pretty important in dealing with the post-sideboard creatures of Scapeshift, since you really don't want to pass to exile an Obstinate Baloth, but if you don't deal with it, it is gonna take over the game fairly quickly, I noticed. So that's it about the list. See you guys in round 1.